everyone. I am very glad to talk about Dalcroze piano improvisation today. Before I start, I would like to ask you a question. When you hear improvisation, what comes to your mind first? A friend of mine who took a Dalcroze workshop a few years ago answered, fear, stress, and paralysis. How about you? I really hope the words such as excited, fun, joy, or exhilaration popped up in some people's mind. But regardless of my hope, in reality, I have observed a lot of people were uncomfortable with piano improvisation in many different Dalcroze workshops in different countries. If you're not a piano person, it probably is more difficult to like Dalcroze piano improvisation. Most of us have years or decades of professional music training, which means we already know more than enough musical vocabulary to create short pieces of music. We know rhythmic patterns, we know articulations, we know harmonies, we know phrasing, we know forms, we know styles, and much more. We already know more than enough to improvise some music. But why? Why are we so uncomfortable with it? Why does improvisation paralyze us? Is it because you're not a pianist? Or is it because you're not a talented musician? Or is it because improvisation is only for some special talented people? What I want to say is one of the reasons why we are not comfortable with improvisation is simply because we are not familiar with it. It's new to us, so we are a little fearful. We simply did not have enough opportunities to experience it. That's all it is. It is not about how talented you are, it's about how experienced you are. It means if we have enough experience, we can overcome the fear from something foreign. Another reason why we are stressed out by improvisation is we might be afraid that we can't please listeners with our improvisation. We might be afraid that our improvisation is compared to masterpieces and judged with the same high standard. That fear might paralyze us. But the good news is Dalcroze improvisation neither requires to please listeners nor to compare to masterpieces. It has a very unique purpose and requires a different standard. The goal is to teach and make students move in order that they can experience musical elements through movements. That is the standard. As long as we can teach musical elements through our improvisation and students can learn from it, we fulfill our goal and standard. Pleasing listeners is a secondary issue, and it will follow by enough improvising experience. We learn and experience how to visualize musical sound into movement through Eurhythmics, solfege, and plastic anime. Through improvisation, we learn the opposite way. We oralize movement into musical sound. Dalcroze improvisation is not for performing. It is a tool to understand the relationship between music and movement and teach effectively, just like all other Dalcroze components. We find the joy of music and movement through Eurhythmics. We can also find another level of joy when we create joy for our students using improvisation. When we can improvise effectively, we become magicians who take our students everywhere with music. Today, I am going to introduce two tools to improvise common movements, such as walking, marching, running, swinging, skipping, and gliding. One way is to play on the black keys only. The other way is to play with one hand on the white keys and the other hand on the black keys. There are many ways to improvise, but these two ways are relatively easy to start because we can be free from a lot of music theory rules. I will have fun. I hope you can have fun too. Shall we? Let's start from walking on the black keys. Before you play the piano, I want to recommend that you move first. So let's walk. When you walk, what do you feel? And what do you see? I feel smooth and steady. So what I can think is I might need legato and I have to play something steady. A lot of cases for walking music, we do quarter, 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 quarter note. So you can think about that, and now you started to vocalize it. Matching with your feet, matching with your feeling. Something like that. Ta-ra-dee-ra-dee-ra-dee-ra, ti-ta-ti-ta-ti-ta, ta-ti-ta-ti-ta-ti-ra-ra. Once you started to feel comfortable with your vocalizing, you can go to the piano. Keep the feeling. Keep singing. Ta-ra-dee-ra-dee-ra-dee-ra. And you pick whichever is a comfortable hand and start play on the black key, matching with the voice. Ti-ra-dee-ra-dee. We can walk. With this music, we can walk. And after that, if you play around like this multiple times, and at some point you're gonna be comfortable, then I want to recommend you can add another hand, so you can play both hands at the same time. First, especially you're not a pianist, I want to recommend you can play this middle range because that's easier because it's not so big range. So play on the middle range. We can do like that. Here we go. You can pick any note for starting and you can finish on the any note because this is a benefit of playing on the black keys. And if you get used to these things, you can put some dynamics for that. And then if you are thinking about your becoming a Dalcroze teacher, maybe you always practice with your cue for your students. It's actually a little tricky. So we can start like this way, very simply. Here we go. And put some dynamics. Then your students can explore some big movement and small movement while they are walking. And after that, if you used to this style and you can do another way, you can do your right hand can go all the way up and your left hand go all the way down. So your students can do, you hear high note, they can clap, and they hear lower note, they can step, or they hear both, and they can do both. So we can start like that. Anything what you want to prefer. Maybe start with a step. cover multiple classes with that. Now, we're going to explore marching. Walking and marching has a similarity. You probably can guess both require the steady beat. But there is something different when we have to play for the movement. Let's figure out. We're going to move. So I'm going to march. And you clearly see there is steady beat. But what is different from walking? Look, my knee, it's a lot higher than when I walk. So we might need detached sound when we play the piano. So thinking about that, and you can vocalize it. Ta ti ta ta ti ta 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 ti ta 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 ta. So when you got the feeling of marching, go to the piano, keep the feeling, sit down on the piano and start the playing. How is that? It's pretty simple, but it gives a feeling of marching. Then you can play another hand. Here we go. So what you have to think about the articulation, your finger is doing the same job with your feet. So your feet was detached and your finger is detached, like. So your knee got higher, your finger got higher than when you play the walking music. So maybe some people think, hi Dusan, that's a little not enough for the marching. That sounds a little different to what I'm thinking. Probably you might can think about this kind of music. Right? So what rhythm there is, typically? March a lot of time need da-da-da, tick-da-da, tick-da-da rhythm. So if you are comfortable with this kind of thing, you can put some dotted rhythm somewhere. Here we go. You can put triplets. Here we go. Or another option, you can pick two notes for the left hand as an ostinato. Something like that. Here we go. Then people can people can march. It's a great march music for your students and even for adult students. This time we're going to explore running or jogging. I personally prefer called jogging because running a lot of times creates some chaos in the Eurhythmics classes, especially your students are young. Okay, this is running and they just run, they don't listen. So I usually say just jogging so that students doesn't have to run in a chaos. So, but it's up to you. Again, we're gonna move first. So jogging, the reason I want to say jogging is it's kind of another purposes I want to teach subdivision of the quarter note. So walk, 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 running, running, jogging, jogging, something like that. So let's do the jogging. So what's happening for my body? It's clearly smaller step than walking. Okay, you feel and steady too, and you touch it too, so you can vocalize it. Ta ta ti ta ti ta ti ta ti ta ti ta ti ta ta. Go to the piano, O and C da O ta 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 ta. Black key only. Isn't that easy? And if you're comfortable, add another hand, like this. Here we go. This time, I will show swaying, so let's sway. I can feel this. Fa, fa, fum, fum. It's kind of two, but we normally do 6/8. So it goes like this. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. And you want to set the ostinato on your left hand. But this is not enough for the sway because it's too detached. Oh, I'm not a pianist. How can I fix it? Oh, there's a pedal. So you can simply put the pedal. Then, oh well, there's a sway. This is a sway enough. But we want to do a little bit more. Then you add your right hand first, big beat only, like this. You're comfortable with that? Another rhythm. And even more comfortable, and we can put Sicilian. And then, if you want to do swing, swing is a little bigger movement, like this. Swing is more like kind of big movement. It's bigger than swing, same feeling, but it's bigger. Swing, swing, sway, sway, swing, swing. So for the big one, how can you do that? You can make bigger sound, but I want to recommend make a bigger range. So you can do, maybe you can use some octave if you're comfortable. So ostinato, same. Pick any note on the black key. And then using octave. And then one more key inside. Tone cluster for like all 3 notes. I will show once more. I will show skipping, which kids love. Let's move first. If your students are little, maybe under 5, they can't do skip. Some students cannot do that, so in that case, just hopping is totally fine. It can be used for hopping too. Okay, let's do skip. It's very light and has some distinct rhythm. Once you got the rhythm, go to the piano, happy skipping. Da 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 go. After that, if it's comfortable, you play it enough time and add the left hand. First, only one note on big beat. 1 and 2 and 3, we go. And if that's comfortable, you can pick one more note and make some kind of ostinato, like this is what I picked. And that got comfortable. You can go a little fancier, another kind of ostinato, but you can use the same rhythm with right hand, like this. This time I want to show gliding. Let's move. So please imagine ice skating and I am on the ice rink. So this is gliding. It's my best. This is gliding. Sort of. For the improvisation, there's no such the answer. Maybe there's another way to glide, but today I'm going to show some general way to play for the gliding. Usually, I play as a 3. So, let's see. So, this point is going to be 1. So, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That can be our tempo probably. 2, 3, 1. So you got the tempo for the gliding. Have to do the vocalize it. And before vocalizing it, could you see my leg? Before 1, my leg actually moved for 3rd beat. Do you see that? So my vocalizing is going like that. Ta-ra, ta-ra, ti-ra, ta-ra, 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 ta-ra. And you got the sense of gliding. Go to the piano. Ta-ra, 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 ta-ra. For the rhythm, you put as an ostinato on your left hand. You can do different note, even you can be on the one note. Ta-ra, ta-ra. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So this is a gliding. Ta-ra, ta-ra. And you definitely want to put the pedal because never ever stop. Tira, tara. And for the gliding, I want you to add your right hand kind of moving a lot, kind of big range, because gliding goes a pretty big distance. This is a start. And after that, if you are comfortable with it, maybe you can put as a chord and put some rhythm of 3, whichever you like. Here we go. Something like that. This time, I want to introduce how to improvise with one hand on the black keys, the other hand on the white keys. If I play walking music with this way, it sounds like this. Here we go. You can change your hand. We can also play for the march with this way. You can you can choose some 2 notes for your left hand and make a ostinato and detach your sound, steady beat. Exactly same musical element going on, only different thing is one hand is black key, the other hand is on the white keys. I picked these 2. And this is white keys. We can also do the running too. We can set the rhythm. Ta ta ti 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 ta. And then one hand goes to black keys, one hand goes to the white keys. I might choose this way this time. Okay, I will show. This time for the swing, it's the same. Ti ta ti ta ti ta ti ta. For this swing rhythm, you create some ostinato for your left hand, whichever, either black keys or white keys, it doesn't really matter. I will choose white key this time. And this one goes to black keys. This time I want to show the skipping. It's the same. We are going to use the same rhythm, same rhythmic pattern, same feeling. So maybe I will choose white key, any note. I will choose this one. And this one moves on the black keys. Comfortable with this, you can use it for tone cluster for the skipping because that's kind of easier and also gives some cool sound. This time I'm going to showing gliding. You can choose any note for the rhythm. Do you remember the gliding? Ta-ram, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. So you can choose 3-1, 3-1. It goes to black key. this session gave you a big picture of Dalcroze improvisation and some confidence to try and realize how fun it is. If you have any question, please ask me in the following Q&A session. Thank you!